Right now, a man back from the Middle East. Speaking of the Middle East, our good senator and friend, John Hoeven, is back with us in the Common Sense Club and the Scott Innes Show. Nice to have you back, Senator. Did you have a nice weekend?
Good morning, Scott. Good to be with you. Absolutely. It was, needless to say, a very interesting trip. And tensions are high over there. I was in Afghanistan, but also in Egypt. And, really working to try to find a way to connect with government leaders over there so we can start to hopefully build a better relationship and try to get beyond some of the fighting and the violence.
You know, the situation with Iran is obviously heating up. I know you had an opportunity to meet with Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. First of all, that had to be an amazing moment, I imagine, for you, huh?
It is. I've met him before. I'm very impressed with him. He's a very strong leader, and, of course, he's very focused, and rightly so, on preventing Iran from getting a nuclear bomb. And, we've passed legislation here in the Senate. I was part of it because it's designed to impose strong sanctions to prevent Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. I think it can work, but we've got to get the administration to fully impose it. In a nutshell, what it does, it says that if any country or company does business with the Iran Central Bank, which is the only way to buy oil from Iran, if you do that, you cannot transact with the U.S. banking system. I think fully implemented, which it hasn't been yet, that puts incredible pressure on Iran and is right now the best way to try to shut down their nuclear ambitions.
Did you flat out ask him whether they have plans to take out the nuclear capability of Iran?
I have to be careful. We talked about all kinds of things, and I certainly don't speak for him. But obviously, all options are on the table and need to be in order to make sanctions work. In other words, if Iran understands that all options are on the table, and we impose these strong sanctions, which again, the administration needs to do it. They need to fully impose it. We've given them the authority to do it, and they need to make sure there are no exceptions. So it means we have to talk to countries like India and South Korea and China and say, hey, it's important we stop these guys. That has to happen, but ultimately, obviously all options are on the table.
John McCain was with you on that trip, and I know he has alleged that the media leaked the reason for the U.S. National Security Advisor's trip to Israel to try and persuade the country not to attack Iran, then went on to say that the leak weakened Israel's standing in the face-off, rightly angered Netanyahu, and has further strained U.S.-Israeli relations, saying the Prime Minister has every reason to be upset. I can understand why relations are in very bad shape right now. Do you agree with John McCain that the administration has handled this poorly?
I am very concerned about it, Scott. Look, we have to be strong and we have to be consistent. The best way to avoid, a military action to have to take out their nuclear weapon is to be strong and to be consistent. That means imposing the sanctions consistently, having everyone together, and then also making sure that Iran understands that all options are on the table. And that needs to be a strong, consistent message, not this back and forth.
You also had a chance while you were there, as you mentioned, to be Afghanistan, and obviously with the situation, the mistake over the burned Koran, that had to be a hot topic there. What's your take on whether or not Obama should have apologized for that, given the fact we know it was a mistake? Do you agree or disagree with that decision?
I think to explain it was inadvertent, and then to call for calm is the right approach and the approach we should have taken all the way through. And look, I just was back from Afghanistan. I mean, our soldiers are doing so much to help the Afghani people, not just security, but so many other things. And that has to be recognized in Afghanistan as well as here. And I think that's the message. Hey, we're over there putting not only treasure, but our lives on the line to help. And you have to understand that. This was inadvertent, and we need to appeal for calm. I think that would have been the right approach.
You met while you were there with the detained North Dakota native Stacey Hogg as well to talk about efforts to free her. Give us an update. Where's that at?
Stacey is just a great person. I had a chance to meet with her at the embassy. She's doing fine. We also met with the Muslim Brotherhood. They actually put out a very helpful statement the very next day. So where the situation sits right now is, as you can guess, Egypt is just in process of electing their new government. And so, there's a lot of things that they're working to get figured out. And this relates to a law that affected non-governmental organizations during the Mubarak regime. And so essentially where it's at now is they're essentially facing trial, which is not good, and there's a travel ban. They can't come home. What we tried to do was say, hey, lift that travel ban so they can come home. At this point, the trial has been continued until April 26th. We have the folks at the embassy. The key now is that we get the travel ban lifted so they can come home. That's what we're working on.
Good for you. Only about a minute left, but I want to ask you about Rick Santorum's visit to North Dakota, in which we saw some incredible crowds and passion both in Tioga and in Fargo. I know that you are a Mitt Romney supporter. You put out a statement actually the day of Santorum's visit to explain why you are a Romney visitor. Have you asked Mitt Romney to come to North Dakota, and is he coming?
Yeah, I think you'll see him there. I don't know that I can make the official announcement yet, but pretty sure you're going to see him there, and it's going to be pretty soon. And so glad he's coming. Hey, look, I think Rick Santorum's a great guy, too, and I'm thrilled that he came out to western North Dakota and that he talked about the Keystone Pipeline. Good man. That's what we need. And Mitt's doing that now, too, and I think you'll see him in North Dakota very quick here. Matter of fact, expect an announcement anytime.
Very good. Do you know yet where he's going to go?
Well, I better not get ahead of him, Scott. I do, but I better let him announce it.
Good. Well, we look forward to it. That's great. The more attention to the great state of North Dakota, the better. And you've been a big part of the leadership of this wonderful state. Appreciate all your efforts, and thanks for the update on the trip to the Middle East.
Great to talk to you, Scott.
As always, Senator John Hoeven. Fun calling him Senator. I love it. More after this on the Common Sense Club and East Scott Inner Show. Let's go.